Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 38, day 5. It is Friday, September 23rd, 2016. Woof, where did the weeks go? As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge in the market. See what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. All right, if this is your first time watching the videos, welcome for the next 15 minutes running through the indices, futures, and a couple other markets to see where current trend was for today and where we are currently. Never indicative, always ready in both directions for the next session. All right, let's look at our numbers for the day and the week as we roll out the week with 26 total setups, about half of almost last week's, but a nice healthy amount of NQ ticks there. Big week on the NQ. Big trading session there on Wednesday after FOMC results. So very nice control move on Wednesday. A little bit of econ data at PMI as we finished up the day. Only on the NQ today though. Very strong trending market on the YM and the ES today. So rolling out with 194 ticks today. All right, so taking a look at some of the stronger trends for the day. There is the ES moving downside. As I said, all three indices with nice clean entries, looking for the Heikin Ashi trend candles underneath the T350, underneath the 5144. I have come to term called the Heikin Oku cloud, just like Ichimoku, and keeping you in the trend. It's all about the candles, regardless of levels, targets, price action to the downside on all 5 charts, and the red kept you in the trend. So nice move if you were following the ES today. All right, let's take a look at the big picture. Here was the NQ with some nice moves downside, pretty much downtrend today as price action watching that NISS and NQ, that's the AD line for the NASDAQ, not always reflective as the NISS NYSE, and keeping you out of them. So what did I just say? I said looking for the highest probability entry would usually be all the charts in the same color, but if you're going for the scalp entry and probably an early entry move, you're looking at, that's right, the price action breaking above the T350 here. You got some solid Heikin Ashi bar candles in trend here, but you're watching the NISS NQ, the AD line, and there it is, rejection. Once over here, twice over here. I don't know where my second arrow came. I apologize for that. I meant to draw one there. But again, rejection here, keeping you out of the entry to the upside, and that saved it because the NQ went downside once again. And hey guys, I just want to show you here, that was another similar setup in the late PM session. Again, you got the breakout of the cloud there. You're eager to go long, and there it is, holding at the -25. That's a static line that I've drawn there, just like I have on the NISS NYSE at 750. -25 and 25 upside, and so holding resistance there, and finally the breakthrough above it, giving you a nice third setup on the NQ for this session. All right, so there was the YM, beautiful move all the way downside to some key moving averages, held the whole session underneath, very smooth controlled downside. Get another lift. You might have gotten a little scalp here, or you just say, you know what, you're only taking the longs above the T350 and you let that one go, and you got a little piece back to the downside. There was the crude trend of the day as we saw the news come out here, Saudi Arabia, and price action again had already previously set up. It was around this midsection of the move that price action, once it was below Globex low, and it continued downside through the levels and through the moving averages. So nice move on the crude today, all under the cloud there. And there it was, big session on the NQ today as we took 3 setups here. Price action underneath the T350 cloud and 5144. Audio alerts, taking one off at the 25-minute open range low. Price action chopping, and then taking it down on the crossover into the cloud. Price action, again, we showed that move up here, holding off on that market internal, and back downside to run a big one today for, what was that, 100 and, let me see, to get the numbers here. And it was today, wrong sheets. I don't even know where I placed my sheets here anymore. 100 and here we go. That was a 126 tick move there as price action ran itself all the way down to some nice levels here, including the 1 hour open range target downside. So very nice move, price action to the downside, and finish up with that last scalp of the session. All right, let's jump into the charts. As we see here on the AD line to the downside, price action for the most part downtrend today. AD line just kind of chopping away across. How did we do on those fib levels today? Yep, we got all three to the downside. Very nice move. All three fib targets holding and plowing through those. Daily gaps, very nice move. Closing out those daily gaps, and with 100% guarantee, I tell you guys, every day, every week, that price action will always go down and take care of old business, closing out previous open gaps, open gaps, and that's what we did today. To the T here, 54.50 and plus some on the YM. Crude closing out its 2 daily gaps, so we'll go ahead and close those out here after today's recap. All right, jumping into the daily big pick here. Let's start with the daily trend. Let's start with the crude here, and there we go. Crude, again, that nice move down with the color background to show you the moving averages in sync. Price action continuing downside. One of the changes looking ahead to do is getting that perhaps signal to indicate that price action is underneath the T350 and underneath the cloud. Might be more indicative of a move, not having to wait for all charts to be in sync, so look forward to that. But either way, you got the entries below here. You might have stalled, you might have waited on the Globex low, but there it was underneath the midnight open and all the way down. So sweet move on the crude today. Gold, not much to talk of as a chop within the range here. Price action again on the bonds to the upside and then overnight, and that was it for the most part in the inside session. YM, again, we showed that nice long trending move, so downtrend today. Solid Heikin-Ashi bars all the way downside with 5 charts in the red. And the NQ, there was the big move. Again, hesitation here, as that was the Globex low as well. And we had a target downside here, not only the daily gap on the 5-minute chart, but we also had take the 1 hour open range. You got the low, the high, you got the close of it, you got yourself a pivot. Price action, target downside, you can use as a level, which today was actually 48.7175, I believe. No, that was the pivot. Excuse me, 48.7175 was the pivot. But the target downside, very nice move all the way down here. Daily gap and then bounced back up. So there was our NQ move. ES price action to the downside here. Nice move on the ES, sell signal downside on the 5 charts. All right, taking a look at the rest of the indices, working ourselves backwards. Platinum, not much to talk about. Taking a look at the NG. Again, very quiet session. ZS Beans, very nice. One trending session like the YM there. 5 charts in the green to the downside with its moving averages all. Yen, again, after its big move this week, again, chopping up, pretty much inside session. Euro, very smooth, not too bad, controlled. But again, didn't really break out of the range today. So kind of after Wednesday's announcement, we were pretty quiet. And there was the EMD, Mid-Cap 400. Again, if you're trading the S&P, why not trade the EMD? Nice trending moves here to the downside. Might actually move the EMD over to the main charts. All right, taking a look ahead, there's our daily trend. But let's take a look at where we're headed next week, or where we are currently as we take a look at the daily big pick. Here we are on the NQ as we post each morning, NQ, YM, and ES. NQ holding above the 50 and the 200, so a lot of movement to the upside, but it's the YM and the ES still sitting inside the gap. A little concern there as we pulled back. But again, yesterday, what did we say? Watch for the action to pull back to one of the key moving averages. If we're not moving upside, a little bit of reject up there and closing out some gaps, holding support here. So I have to go with the momentum still to the downside until I see hold here. All right, hold the support, and if we break back upside, we'll bring that 5144 back into the green like we have here on the NQ. So for today, we got a nice little pullback. Very nice, but again, nothing threatening here. I still think we got momentum on the NQ to the upside. We'll look to next week to see if we bounce back to any key moving average, but I still got to go with the momentum to the downside of the YMES till that 5144 climbs back up. All right, daily big pick. Here we go on the crude here. Price action pulling back today, closing out those gaps to the 50 EMA. Again, I've told you crude still with the majority of the trend here on the 4-hour downside, and that's exactly what we did. Tested that T350 MA today, and I believe, let me go back for a second, I believe it was the YM, there it was, testing the 50 MA as well on its chart. All right, let's go back to the crude here. Again, holding support. I still have to go with the downtrend all the way across the board on the bonds, on the gold, and on the crude. Got that one right today. Still keep saying that's the yen. All right, so it is crude still to the downside. Still gold, but gold by a hairy thin here as price action steady at the 50 MA, but holding above the 51.44. And you can see about to cross here, all three moving averages holding above the T350. So that's good news. And then above the cloud of the 51.44. So I got to go with the nice pullback, strong pullback. But again, 51. If price action is still in the red here, the momentum still sits to the downside. Notice the gap on the bonds in between the 50 and the 200. All right, last one, daily big pick 3 on the EMD as price action here, sitting now right on the branch of the 50 MA. Again, same picture as we've seen on the ES, nice pullback. The 50 is still below the 144, but holding still above the T350. So the momentum still to the downside, but with a nice pullback. So until that 50 gets up above that 144 and in the green, I still have to go with the momentum to the downside. Taking a look at the 6E euro, again doing the huffle shuffle here as price action holding above the 50 and the 200. There it is in the green. Got to go with the momentum upside, as well as the yen with some positive news out on monetary policy this week. We'll see for the follow through next week. And by the way, volume today on the moving averages here almost at support, but slightly above. I think it was here on the ES. That's right, 125 by a hairy thin there. So looking ahead as we roll into next week, looking at the Econoday calendar, you want to make sure you check out the global events too. It's all about, to me, looking at GDP. I know we got those Fed speakers. Those seem to move the market. I'd look to Wednesday for some volatility in the market, but it's on Thursday, the GDP numbers, 3 red star events, throwing a little bit of EIA and PMI, personal income and outlays, and you got yourself an economic week, as well as we roll into the last week of September. All right, that concludes an insight into the daily trend. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My trading mantra: one simple strategy. Any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at TradingFibs. And as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me and on my charts. And as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. You have to be ready every day to trade in both directions if you're trading futures. Hey guys, make sure you check out, as each week I go ahead and post a recap. Here's last week's recap. As you can see, I go through with a majority of the big picture of the econ data, showing you a chart of the week, and then each day's stats, including the daily trend video, and I will post that here this weekend, and make sure you check that out. All right, it is week 39 next week, and we've already jumped into fall, so wherever you may be, enjoy yourselves, take some time off from the monitors, and we'll see you next week. Have yourselves a Blue Zone weekend wherever you may be. Good day, a good night, and good trading to you.